No one at Crescent Gate Secondary School knew the new mathematics teacher was the son of a billionaire. To them, he was just Mr. Adrian, young, fresh-faced, and strangely polished for someone working in a school with flickering tube lights and rusted desk hinges. Adrian had chosen to teach in the public system not out of necessity, but out of curiosity. He wanted to understand the real world. His father, Chief Emmanuel Wade, a real estate magnate with properties scattered across 5 countries, had reluctantly agreed. Just 6 months, Adrian had said. I want to teach, see how people live without all this wealth cushioning them. And so, Mr. Adrian walked into SS2B with his crisp shirts and quiet dignity. Among the sea of adolescent chaos was a name he would never forget, Adaora Obi. Adaora was notorious in the school. She never submitted homework. She never listened in class. And when asked why she hadn't done her assignment, she'd stare right back at Adrian with defiance burning in her eyes. No time, she would reply lazily. I'm not going to be an accountant or anything. Each time Adrian asked for homework, the same scene repeated itself. Her desk, empty. Her eyes, cold. Her lips, curled into a mocking smile. When other students laughed or whispered, she was always in the middle of it, stirring trouble like it was her full-time job. Adrian tried to stay calm. He asked her privately, encouraged her gently, even called for extra tutorials, but Adaora would have none of it. One day, as he taught quadratic equations, she turned her chair deliberately and began chatting loudly with her friends. That was the last straw. You stand, Adrian said, pointing at her. She looked up and smirked. Why? Because you're disrupting my class. I can hear you just fine while sitting. Then you'll hear better while standing. For the rest of this class, you'll remain on your feet. The class fell silent. She stood, reluctantly, rolling her eyes as though she were doing him a favor. When the bell rang an hour later, she dragged herself out dramatically. That evening, she went home and told her mother, Madame Obi, that she had been publicly humiliated. She added some seasoning, that she nearly fainted from standing too long, that the teacher hated her, and even that he threatened her with expulsion. None of it was true, but her mother, a woman of explosive temper and even greater pride, didn't need much convincing. The next morning, the school was turned upside down. Madame Obi stormed into the staff room with her daughter in tow and unleashed a fury that echoed down the halls. How dare you punish my daughter like that? Who do you think you are? She screamed at Adrian in front of other teachers and stunned students. Adrian stood there, silent. You touch her again and I'll sue this whole school. Do you know how much I pay for this nonsense education? The peanuts you're paid here aren't even up to her monthly allowance. Some teachers tried to intervene. The vice principal academics came in, shook his head dismissively, and said, that's why we are here, to teach and to discipline. Don't take it personally. Adrian said nothing. Not a word. He nodded, turned around, and walked away. A week later, he handed in his resignation. Rumors spread, that he had gotten a better job, that he had been humiliated beyond endurance, that he was too soft to survive in Nigerian schools. None of them knew the truth. He had received an offer to lead a global education initiative funded by his father's foundation, a program that would bring STEM education to underprivileged schools across Africa. He left quietly, without ceremony. Years passed. Adaora scraped through her final exams. Despite warnings and close calls, she never changed. Her mother continued to defend her, pushing her from one private university to another, until the money couldn't cover her failures anymore. When the family's business hit rough waters, Adaora's entitled world came crashing down. By 28, she was unemployed and struggling. Her mother had lost most of her wealth after a failed political investment. Adaora, who had once mocked teachers and flaunted designer shoes, was now tutoring part-time just to make ends meet. One day, while scrolling through job listings on her cracked phone, she stumbled on a headline: New education tech startup launches in Lagos, led by billionaire CEO Adrian Wade. The photo beside it stopped her cold. It was him. Same eyes. Same calm. But now in a tailored suit, shaking hands with ministers and donors. She Googled more, and the truth hit her like cold water. Adrian Wade, son of Chief Emmanuel Wade. Net worth, over $3.5 billion. Projects in 17 countries. Major investor in sustainable education systems. 1 week later, she saw a job listing, administrative assistant, Wade Education Initiative, Lagos office. Without hesitation, she applied, and she got an interview. The office was a gleaming glass structure in Victoria Island. She stepped in nervously, adjusting the second-hand blazer she had borrowed. She waited in the lobby for over an hour until a secretary approached. "Mr. Wade will see you now." She walked in. Adrian sat behind a long mahogany desk. He looked up, and for a long second, their eyes met. Silence. Then, he smiled. "Adaora Obi." She froze. "Good afternoon, sir." "I remember you," he said simply. "The student who never did her assignments." Her voice trembled. "Yes. Sir. I'm truly sorry for how I behaved back then." He leaned back. "I appreciate your honesty. But you know, sometimes it takes life itself to teach what a teacher couldn't." She lowered her eyes. "I've learned a lot, sir." Adrian studied her. He saw the humility that time had carved into her face, the hunger to do better. He nodded. "We have a training program for new hires. You'll be working under our Lagos office coordinator. If you do well, there's room to grow." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Thank you." He stood up and shook her hand, and as she left his office, heart pounding, she realized that true lessons weren't always learned in classrooms. Sometimes, they came wrapped in consequences, and grace, and as for Mr. Adrian Wade, he taught for a little while, long enough to change a life. Dear esteemed viewers, what insights did you gain from this captivating story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the tale, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.